Sometimes, the person you judge too quickly might hold the key to your future. And sometimes, the insults you throw in private end up echoing in the halls of your dreams, louder than you ever imagined. In a quiet corner of Abuja, in a modest but well-kept house, an unspoken war was being waged daily, not with fists or weapons, but with glances, silence, and bitterness. Adiz, a 27-year-old rising star in a prestigious consulting firm, had just married her longtime boyfriend, Emeka. A bright woman with grace and humility, Adiz had risen from humble beginnings. She was the type who'd quietly pay someone's hospital bills and never speak of it. But nothing had prepared her for the psychological minefield that was her new home and her mother-in-law, Mama Emeka. Adiz had moved into the family house with her husband as tradition demanded, at least for the first few months. It was meant to be temporary. But days turned into weeks, and the atmosphere was suffocating. From the moment she stepped in, Mama Emeka made it clear that she did not approve. Adiz was too quiet, too modern, and not woman enough. She didn't kneel long enough during greetings. Her cooking, no matter how tasty, was too oily or lacked local flavor. But Adiz kept her head down and smiled through the discomfort. One Friday evening, after a particularly stressful day at work, one involving last-minute pitch decks, conflicting schedules, and an unexpected client visit, Adiz came home late. She had texted ahead, knowing the importance Mama Emeka placed on family dinner, but it didn't matter. "You cannot be gallivanting like a market woman and still expect us to eat your food," Mama Emeka muttered as Adiz walked in, balancing a brown paper bag with fresh vegetables. Adiz didn't reply. She simply entered the kitchen, pulled out pots, and began cooking. That evening, she prepared egusi soup with tender goat meat, pounded yam, and vegetable sauce, a spread good enough for royalty. Emeka was excited as he sat down with his friend and colleague, Kola, who had come for an impromptu visit. Kola had recently moved back to Nigeria and had just been promoted to director at Adiz's company, but Adiz didn't know that yet. To her, he was simply her husband's friend. "Ah, Eda, this smells heavenly," Emeka said, peeking into the pot. Mama Emeka didn't like the smell. Or perhaps she did, but it irritated her more that the guest, a well-dressed and polished man, complimented Adiz. "What kind of soup is this?" she said sharply as she dipped her fingers into the pot without washing her hands. "This one that tastes like medicine." "Who taught you to cook?" Adiz stood still, her hand tightening around the wooden spoon. Kola shifted uncomfortably. "This is very good food, Ma. Honestly, your daughter-in-law." "She is not my daughter," Mama Emeka snapped. "She just came here to shine shoulders. Ask her how many times she sweeps this house, or wakes up early like a real wife. She wants to work and expect me to clap for her." Before anyone could stop her, she lifted the pot of steaming soup and walked toward the back door. "Mama! What are you doing?" Emeka shouted. "She won't kill us with all this her pride. I'll throw this nonsense away." And with one sharp movement, she flung the soup into the bin outside, letting the metal pot crash onto the concrete floor. Adiz stood frozen, blinking back tears. Kola was stunned. He looked at Adiz, then at Mama Emeka, then back at his untouched plate. "You didn't have to do that," he said quietly. "Who are you to tell me what to do in my house?" Kola gave a soft smile, the kind that masked deep thought. "You're right. It's your house. But you may not realize who you just disrespected." Mama Emeka folded her arms. "And who are you, Baiko?" Emeka attempted to diffuse the tension. "Kola is just my friend. He works in the same company as Adiz." Kola stood. "Correction. I'm her boss. In fact, I was the one who asked for her to be considered for the regional training program in South Africa. I came here to congratulate her privately and get to know the family she always speaks of so respectfully." But now, he exhaled. Now I see that respect is not always mutual. Silence blanketed the room like heavy fog. Kola picked up his briefcase and turned to Adiz. You're incredibly strong. I hope this environment doesn't crush that. I'll see you in the office Monday. He gave her a kind look, nodded to Emeka, and left. Mama Emeka opened her mouth, but no words came out. That night, no one touched the rice Emeka reheated. Adiz sat alone in the room she shared with her husband, staring into the dark. I'm sorry, Emeka said, but even he knew that some things couldn't be fixed with an apology. That weekend was unusually quiet. The silence in the house was thick with unspoken words and unresolved shame. Mama Emeka didn't speak to Adiz at all, but her presence lingered like a shadow, always watching, judging. Adiz, for her part, went about her business as if nothing had happened. She cleaned, cooked plain rice with stew, served it without flair, and stayed in her room. Her warmth had cooled. Emeka noticed it, but what could he say? His attempts to mediate had fallen flat, and his mother's pride was as immovable as granite. Monday arrived. Adiz dressed sharply for work, a navy blue blouse tucked into a grey pencil skirt, her natural hair swept up in a neat puff. She looked like calm itself, but her mind was racing. What if Kola had changed his mind about her? What if the opportunity she had worked so hard for had slipped away because of someone else's pride? But when she arrived at the office, the air shifted. Her colleagues greeted her with warmer smiles than usual. Her manager called her in. Kola was really impressed with your humility, he said. Not just your work ethic. Humility. That means something. The board has approved your nomination for the leadership program. You'll be flying to Cape Town next month. Tears pricked her eyes. She swallowed hard. Thank you, sir. That evening, when she returned home, she didn't speak of it. She quietly packed a small bag and stepped into the living room where Emeka sat. I'll stay with Chioma for a few weeks until the trip, she said softly. His eyes widened. You're leaving. I'm not angry. I just need space. This house, it's squeezing the life out of me. From the hallway, Mama Emeka stood listening, arms folded. But for once, she said nothing. Later that night, after Adiz had gone, Emeka confronted his mother. You know she never once disrespected you, he said. Not once. Even when you embarrassed her in front of her boss. Do you know how easy it would have been for her to fight back? But she didn't. Mama Emeka looked away, uncharacteristically quiet. You didn't throw away soup, Mama. You threw away dignity. And it wasn't hers, it was yours. Meanwhile, at Chioma's apartment, Adiz sat on the balcony, sipping tea. The wind whispered gently against her face. She felt a lightness she hadn't felt in months. She wasn't just leaving a house. She was reclaiming her peace. The day Adiz left for South Africa, Emeka drove her to the airport. They barely spoke during the ride, both lost in their thoughts. When they reached the terminal, he parked and turned to her. I'm proud of you, Eda, he said, a voice low. I wish I'd done more to protect you. Adiz gave a small, sad smile. I know you tried in your own way. But some battles, even love can't fight. He reached for her hand. When you come back, let's live on our own. I've started looking for apartments. She paused. Let's see how things go. That answer hung between them, uncertain but not unkind. With a final embrace, she wheeled her suitcase into the terminal, walking taller than she had in months. Back home, the silence grew heavier. Emeka came home to cold meals and colder conversations. The once lively house now felt like a tomb. And Mama Emeka. Something in her had changed too. One day, a woman from church came to visit. During casual gossip, she mentioned that Adeez was now representing her firm at a major Pan-African summit. She's respected, oh. I hear even her bosses speak of her with honor, the woman said. Mama Emeka gave a tight nod, saying nothing. But when the woman left, she sat on her bed and stared at the wall for a long time. It was then it hit her, she had measured Adeez by her own narrow yardstick. She had judged her for not fitting a mold shaped by years of hardship and bitterness. And in doing so, she had almost destroyed her son's happiness and disrespected a woman who only ever wanted to be accepted. 2 months later, Adeez returned. The leadership program had changed her. She was more assertive, more self-assured. Emeka met her at the airport again, this time with flowers and nervous hope. When they got home, not to the family house, but a modest apartment he had secured, she walked in and exhaled deeply. I forgot what peace felt like, she whispered. Later that week, Mama Emeka called. She wanted to visit. Adeez agreed hesitantly. When the older woman arrived, she didn't come with arrogance. She came with bags of groceries, a flask of pepper soup, and eyes that looked, for the first time, truly sorry. I was wrong, she said, after placing the flask on the table. I judged you without knowing your worth. I let my pride speak louder than my heart. Adeez listened, her expression unreadable. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Mama Emeka added. I just want you to know I see you now. I see you. After a long silence, Adeez spoke. Seeing me, that's all I ever wanted. Some wounds don't close with words, but recognition can begin the healing. The story of Adeez is not just about family tension or workplace irony, it's about dignity and the power of restraint. Respect, once denied, can return, but only if we are willing to learn what it truly means.